What's the best fishing rod and reel combo to take with you when you want to go camping? I've got an opinion. Let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm Kevin with Kemp Outside, your inside source for all things outside. Well, it's the question I posed at the beginning of the video. What is the best fishing rod and reel combo to take with you when you go camping? I have an opinion, but I'm going to lay out why I think I'm right? So I see this question all the time on Facebook. I'm in a bunch of Facebook camping groups, and I see this question all the time. And the question is, how do I store a fishing rod and reel in my RV or my camper? And to me, that's the wrong question, right? The right question is what is the easiest fishing rod and reel to store in your camper, and then how do you store it? So let me give you an example of what I mean. When I am fishing on pontoon fish, when I'm trailing pontoon fish down to down to Tampa Bay or one of my local lakes, I'm fishing with something like this, all the time. I'm fishing with a one-piece rod that's 7 feet tall, right? And some of my rods are even taller than that. Sometimes I fish with even 7'6" rods, all one piece, so they don't come apart. And I like that because it really is a no compromise solution when fishing. The one piece rod is going to be the most sensitive rod. You're going to feel all the little bites and hits of the lure or the bait or whatever. And they're also the strongest. The separation of a multi-piece rod is a weak point in that rod and could potentially break. So when I'm fishing on the boat or I'm fishing locally, I'm fishing with all one-piece rods. And why is it 7 feet or longer? Well, it's casting distance. So where I fish in saltwater, primarily Tampa Bay and Sarasota Bay, the fishing pressure is really strong. And so the fish are very used to fishing boats and that kind of thing. And so you really want to be able to cast far away because you don't want that fish to know that you're coming, right? So the longer the rod, in general, the better casting distance you have. But if I was going to take this rod and try to store these rods in my camper, guys, that would be a nightmare, right? Camping with something like this, at least in the camper or in the tow vehicle, is really, really challenging. Now, if you have a pickup truck, sure, you can put it in the bed of a pickup truck, but then your rods and reels aren't secured. And if you have, some money invested in your fishing gear, you're going to want it secured. So one-piece rods and long rods really aren't a good solution for traveling with fishing rods, right? So there's one way you could go. One of the ways you could go, and this is something that I do, right, is I take with me travel rods. And this is the 7-foot, 2-inch medium or medium heavy travel rod by Toadfish Outfitters. And guys, I did a review on this rod. I'll put a link right up there where you can check that out. And it comes apart into 3 pieces. So here's a section that comes apart, and then here's another section that comes apart, and it breaks down into 3 pieces, and they're all about, that long. Now, these are nice, right? And I definitely would not steer you away from a set of travel rods from Toadfish Outfitters, but these are not inexpensive, right? And so if you are just more of a kind of a recreational angler where you just want to wet a line for an hour or two, when you're camping on a lake or something like that, that might not be what you want. And so what is the best all-around budget-minded fishing rod to take with you when you're camping? Well, I've got a number of them behind me, and basically, let's start out with this one, right? So what I would suggest is a 2-piece spinning outfit that's 6.5 feet long. So why 6.5 feet? Well, typically when I'm camping, right, I'm not fishing out of a boat, right? I'm bank fishing, right? If I'm taking my cargo camper with me and I have my camper, I'm walking down to the bank of the river or the lake or whatever to do my fishing, or maybe I'm fishing, maybe I'm coastal camping here in Florida and I'm walking down to the beach, or I'm walking down to, a break in the mangroves to fish, in the intercoastal. When I'm bank fishing and I've got a lot of trees around me and that kind of thing, I want a shorter rod than 7 feet. I don't want this 7'2", travel rod. I want something shorter because it's easier to navigate, all the tree branches and mangroves and stuff around me when I'm fishing. So I like a shorter rod when I'm bank fishing, right? Casting distance typically isn't in play as much when I'm bank fishing. It's more, accuracy and then ease of use, when I'm at the bank. And then of course, why 2-piece? Well, because you can take the rod apart, and then typically what I'll do is I'll take some zip ties and I'll zip tie these 2 pieces together, and I'll take the reel off. And when I take the reel off, I can put these in a PVC tube in my camper that is about 3 feet long, and this rod is totally protected and it's easy to carry. So this rod specifically is an Abu Garcia Vengeance, and it's a 6.5 foot rod, and it's a medium rod. I like that size and weight for bank fishing. It's a great rod for throwing, plastic worms. It's a great rod for throwing crankbaits and lures and all kinds of things. And I have it paired with an Abu Garcia Max Pro 30 spinning reel. And guys, this is a great budget rod and reel. So, when you're looking to spend, not a whole lot of money, but you want something that's a decent rod and a decent reel, getting something, in this range is really nice. If you want to step it up a little bit, right, they have the Abu Garcia Vendetta rod. And so I have that one right here. And so this rod is a little nicer than the Vengeance. It's a little more sensitive. It's a little stronger, has a little bit more of a carbon feel. But again, it is a 2-piece rod in 6.5 feet in length, right? And so I really, again, like that size and weight. And then I have this rod paired with an Abu Garcia Max Z reel. So a little bit more money in the rod, a little bit more money in the reel, but again, definitely something that is affordable, easy to take with you in the camper. It's got great EVA foam grips, a comfortable reel seat, comfortable in the hand. This is an easy rod to fish with all day. Again, 6.5 feet long, and it's a medium action rod. So I like mediums, but there are times when I want a rod that's a little heavier. So when I am fishing for some of my larger fish, if I'm largemouth bass fishing, or even I'm fishing for northern pike, a lot of times I like a medium heavy rod. And so this is another Vendetta, but it's in medium heavy. So it's still 6.5 feet long. It's still a 2-piece rod, so it comes apart, right? But it is definitely a little bit beefier, right? And so instead of the line rating of, so on a medium, the line rating is 6 to 12 pounds. The medium heavy is 8 to 14, right? So a little bit stronger line, a little bit bigger lures, those kind of things are things that, you'll want to consider when you're going up from a medium to a medium heavy. What kind of fishing are you doing? I definitely like the medium heavy for my larger game fish. Also, if you are going to be doing any saltwater fishing, guys, these are primarily freshwater combos, but they will handle some light saltwater use. You're going to want to make sure that you wash them down really good after you do that, but guys, you have to do that even with saltwater gear. So if you're going to use them in saltwater, any of your saltwater game fish, right? So your snook, your flounder, your sea trout, your redfish, black drum, sheep's head, that kind of thing. if you're using freshwater gear to target those species, something in a medium heavy is a really nice way to go. Yeah, you can still use a medium, but you're going to want a medium heavy. You're going to want a little bit stronger line and a little bit more backbone of the rod. So again, this Vendetta is a medium heavy fast action rod. And so for the reel for this guy, I have this rod paired with an Abu Garcia Jordan Lee 30 size spinning reel. So again, a little more money for the rod, a little more money for the reel. Kind of we're moving up in budget, right? So, you know, you can kind of keep that stuff in mind. And guys, again, I'm going to do reviews on all of this stuff individually, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what's out there that I would recommend for you taking in your camper. If you want to step up even more, right? So this is, you know, around, you know, $100 rod, you know, I can't remember what the reel is, but maybe $120 reel. So if you're looking at like a $200 combo, something like this Abu Garcia Veritas is a killer setup. I love it. And then I have it paired with the Abu Garcia Revo reel. And guys, if you want a really, really nice combo to fish with, this Abu Garcia Veritas is a really nice lightweight rod. Again, 6.5 feet, 2-piece rod, so you can take it apart and you can store it just like I mentioned before with some zip ties and in a little travel tube that you can build. And guys, if you want to know how to build a travel tube for rods, I'm going to put a link right up here where you can check that out. But guys, this is a fantastic combo. So this one is another medium heavy, and then this is a moderate fast action. So if you're not familiar with what is fast versus moderate or extra fast, it's basically how fast the rod tip bends. So if it's stiff, the farther up the rod it goes before it bends, the faster the action. And a fast action tip will help you with sensitivity, right? You'll feel the bite better. But a moderate action rod, or the lower the tip starts to bend on the rod, typically the farther you can cast bait, and then the easier it is on the bait. So when you're fishing live bait, especially live bait fish like you know, shad or shiners or, you know, those kind of things, having a moderate fast action rod is a whole lot easier on that bait fish when you're flinging it in the air, right? So also, if you're fishing, you know, crankbaits and you want really good casting distance, a moderate fast action rod will help you get good distance on those baits. So this one is a moderate fast action on the Veritas. And so I really, really like this rod. This is probably one of my favorite rods to fish with when I'm camping. I certainly will use the other ones, but this is my go-to no matter what I'm fishing for. I really like this one a lot. So guys, you know, there's all kinds of options, right? And there's all kinds of opinions out there on what you should use. I mean, could you go bait casters? Sure, you can go bait casters if you want to. I typically fish spinning reels because I just grew up fishing spinning reels, and spinning reels are still kind of the reels of choice for saltwater fishing, which I do a lot of. And so I don't really necessarily need, you know, bait casters and spinning reels. I mean, bait casters are great at what they do. I'm not gonna lie about that. But, you know, in general, you know, when you're looking at just loading a couple of rods, you know, maybe you want enough rods for the family, right? Loading a couple rods into the camper, all of a sudden is going to take up a lot of space, and then you got to worry about them breaking. It's very easy if you have some short, manageable 2-piece fishing rods that you can break down, that you can put in easy to build rod tubes out of PVC. In fact, I'm going to mount some PVC rod tubes under the queen bed of my camper. I'm going to do a video on that here soon, so stay tuned for that. But that's how I'm going to transport my fishing rods in the camper, is they're going to be tucked up under the bed in a PVC tube where nothing can happen to them, right? They're going to be totally protected. Of course, yeah, I pull the reels off, by the way, guys. So, you know, another thing, I don't leave things, you know, rigged up. I have my line, you know, hooked onto the spool, right? So this is braid. This is Berkley X9 braid. with a fluorocarbon leader, right, already tied, and then I just, hook the leader on there, and then I string the rod, I mount the reel, I string the rod, and then I rig it for whatever I'm fishing for that, and then when I'm breaking down camp, I go ahead, I resecure the line, and then, take the reel off and put the rods in the rod tubes. So that's kind of how I transport them. But guys, I think this is really the best option, and it's probably one of the most affordable options. Yeah, you can buy travel rods, and I'm not knocking travel rods, and Toadfish Outfitters make some of the best travel rods I've used. But those are $200 per rod, not counting the reel, right? So a lot of these combos, my cheapest one, this Vengeance, right? I think you can get into this combo for about $100. I think it's like a $50 rod, $50 reel. So at least kind of, what I remember, a lot of times you can find them on sale or that kind of thing. But, for $100, you can go with a Vengeance, with, a $200 rod and reel combo setup. You could go with the Veritas and a Revo. So, in that $100 to $200 range per rod, you have really, really nice fishing setups. You're not compromising. I don't feel like I'm losing anything, right? When I'm fishing my one-piece rods, like my Shimano Terramar, which I mentioned earlier, right? Like when I'm fishing my one-piece rods, these are $120 rods, and I've got them rigged up with, Shimano Symmetries, which they don't even make anymore, but back then, they were $100 reels. So when I'm fishing this, $220, combo on the boat, I'm used to a certain feel of rod and reel. And guys, there are definitely more expensive rods and reels on the market. And, I always recommend, buy what you can afford, right? But I don't feel like if I am switching from that kind of rod to this setup right here, which is my cheapest Abu Garcia combo, the $50 Vengeance with the $50 Max Pro, I don't feel like I'm stepping down. I don't feel like I'm losing anything. I don't feel like I'm compromising much. I know I'm compromising a little bit of length, so I'm compromising a little bit of casting distance. I know I'm compromising a little bit in sensitivity because I'm going to a two-piece rod, and it's a less expensive rod, so it's probably not as sensitive. But I still feel like I can fish this rod with confidence and catch fish and have a good time. And so, I don't feel like I'm losing out by not having my one-piece rods with decent rods like this. Now, if you want to go buy, a cheapie from Walmart, right, and throw it in your camper, you can do that, right? But if you do a lot of fishing, you're going to be like, I hate this rod compared to, the rods that you might have for your boat setup or whatever. So I think this is a really good compromise. I'm going to put links down in the description below for all these, for the Vengeance, the Vendetta, and the Veritas rods, for all the reels, that we talked about. They are affiliate links, guys, so if you use my link to purchase, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it's a great way to support my channel. Helps me to continue to bring you these content. So I'm going to put links down in the description below where you can get any of these. And then also, be sure to watch my rod tube, travel rod tube build, so that you can, look at how you can build rod tubes. But guys, this is what I recommend for people who want to take fishing rods with them when camping. Whether you're putting those rod tubes in the back of a truck or the back of a camper van, or you're putting them in your pop-up, your travel trailer, your fifth wheel, your RV, whatever, two-piece 6.5-foot rods are very, very manageable rods to travel with. Guys, that's my opinion. What do you think? Tell me what you think is the best rod and reel combo setup to take when camping. I'd love to hear it. If you have any questions at all, drop some in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can connect with us on our other social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. Or you can connect with us at our website at campoutside.com. Guys, if you haven't added fishing to your camping setups, I highly recommend it. Go camp on that lake. Go camp on that stream. Go camp on the coasts of the United States and do some fishing while you're camping. I think you'll really enjoy it. Guys, I'm Kevin with Camp Outside, your inside source for all things outside. Thanks for watching.